Hi guys, this is Sliver here, and I want a Mythic Unique in 3 hours. So similarly to the last attempt, I will have 3 hours to get a Mythic Unique without using anything that I already have except for the character. But the difference will be is that I will be trying an actual farming route that I believe is the best for farming Mythic Uniques. So stay a while and listen if you want to know what I think is the best way to farm a Mythic Unique in 3 hours, or you can just stick around for the entertainment. I don't really mind. Let's go. So as you can see, we're standing right here in Kyovashad and waiting for the challenge to begin. We are going to start with 125 million gold. Remember this is the amount of gold that I cannot spend. Everything else above that I will be able to spend. In addition to that, we will also use this new opal that gives us a small chance of getting a boss material whenever we kill something. Surprisingly, this is quite good in my opinion. You can randomly get any boss material, including materials for Duriel and Duriel. As you will see, this will happen during this run. Now it is exactly 2 PM, so a Helltide has begun and we're going to teleport into the Helltide. This is the start of the challenge, 2 PM, so the 3 hours count from now. Let's go. So we are going to farm the Helltide. That's going to be the main source of our farm, and immediately we're going to hop on our cat mount that we just received, and we're going to go to the Helltide. We're going to do the Blood Maiden first. Our goal here in the Helltide is going to be to gather as much boss materials as possible. The majority of those will be obviously living steel coming from the tortured gifts. However, we will also be able to get few exquisite blood from the Blood Maiden, and especially at the beginning we'll be able to get a few malignant hearts, and those malignant hearts come from people completing their objectives for the Whispers, and this will have a chance of summoning a few grotesque debtors. So we can expect some malignant hearts as well. Obviously this is going to be an edited video because YouTube wouldn't tolerate a 3-hour long video, but you can always check the time at the top right where the actual time of day is. So we got to the point where we opened our first mystery chest. This contains a lot of living steel, around 14 of them per mystery chest, and we're also going to open every single tortured gift on the map. The other tortured gifts contain 2 living steel each. And I have not forgotten about the other zone. So in case you didn't know, there are 2 zones affected by the Helltide at the same time near each other, and both of the zones have a mystery chest and a lot of other tortured gifts that you can open. We are going to open every single one of these chests, including the mystery chests and the tortured gifts in both zones. Therefore, I recommend playing a class that is very fast and can farm Helltide very quickly, very efficiently. The perfect example for this is the Spiritborn, more specifically this Infinite Spiritborn evade build that damages everything when they evade. Now you're just seeing me picking up a lot of living steel. I believe this living steel is a random drop from the mobs because I had the opal. You remember the opal that I drank? I don't know how you can drink an opal, but whatever. You remember the opal that I drank back at the beginning? It gives us gradually the random chance of getting a boss summoning material. And we are farming the Helltide really fast, and because of that we kill a lot of mobs, so there's multiple chances of this happening. So definitely I recommend farming for those opals. They're really easy to get with the new seasonal mechanic. And now we just opened the second mystery chest. So this mystery chest was in the other zone affected by the Helltide, and all we have to do now is to open all the remaining tortured gifts. Time check. It is currently 2:16 p.m., so only 16 minutes have passed in the challenge, which shows the strength of the Spiritborn build that we're running. And as you can see, we farmed more than 50 living steel, thanks to the opal that we have drunk. We have some other boss summoning materials that are going to be important later. So now all we have to do is to finish off these two zones and open all the remaining tortured gifts. These tortured gifts are not as good in terms of living steel farming as the mystery chests. However, they still contain 2 living steel each. In the meantime, you completed a lot of Whispers objectives, so you can go back to the Tree of Whispers and get your Whispers cache. This is useful in terms of the run because we will get money when we open these caches, and we will get some malignant hearts that are contained in the caches that are also useful for us in this run. In this case, we got pretty lucky with the boss summoning materials. This is usually not what happens. You can also send away the Whispers caches to your alts, in case you didn't know, because they contain experience and you can level up really fast if you don't open these caches on your main, rather send them to your alt. Now, after we opened the cache, we go right back to the Helltide and continue finishing off the remaining few tortured gifts. Again, each of these contain extra living steel, and because we are affected by our opal, we have an extra chance of getting boss summoning materials of anything, and we are just mowing down the mobs to get a lot of cinders. You need a lot of cinders to open all of the tortured gifts. However, you will see that we managed to do it under 40 minutes. And I believe this was the last chest that we just opened, so we are finished with the Helltide. Quick checkup, at 38 minutes we have 80 living steel and quite a bit of exquisite blood, plus quite a bit of distilled fear as well. Not bad for 40 minutes of farming. So now we have to decide what to do in the remaining time. You can just stay in the Helltide and run the Blood Maiden for exquisite blood, but I decided to switch it up a little bit and go through a dungeon, and this dungeon has a whisper associated with it, so we will get credits for that. And also, if you have the opal active on you, then the boss has a decent chance of dropping extra summoning materials, as you will see very soon. So here is the boss, and he happens to drop quite a lot of exquisite blood. We did get a little bit lucky, but you can do multiple of these dungeons if you finish the Helltide earlier than 1 hour. So this is what we do. We're going to do one more dungeon, and this time it won't be in Nohantu. Usually for these dungeon runs I prefer Nohantu dungeons because there's not that many objectives. You can just run through Nohantu dungeons, whereas back in the classic dungeons you have to do a few objectives. They're usually not that bad, but they are slower. So if you have the choice, you should always choose Nohantu dungeons for this. And since we completed 2 dungeons that have whispers on them, we are going to choose another whisper cache. We can open it for gold, experience, and boss summoning materials, or we can pass it to our alt for alt leveling. Now we are waiting for the next Helltide, or the second hour of the farm, to start. This is where we have a little bit of time to think about what our strategy is, to take a look at what we have so far. We have around 80 living steel, we have a few malignant hearts, we have quite a lot of exquisite blood, and quite a lot of distilled fear as well. I would say that we are doing quite good. This is where you can do a bio break or something, because we're waiting for the Helltide to start. And now that the next Helltide has started, we're going to do the same things as in the previous Helltide, gather as many aberrant cinders as possible and use them to open every single chest inside the 2 zones of the Helltides, and especially the 2 mystery chests, one in each zone. These will give a lot of living steel. You should also go and farm the Blood Maiden a few times, and the reason for that is it gives exquisite blood, it has a chance of giving malignant hearts, and it also gives us green favors for the Tree of Whispers to complete. You can see that we randomly got a lot of living steel from a mob. This is due to the opal buff that we have. So again, I definitely recommend using it during this farm. So we're just trying to finish the Helltide. You should be expecting around 70 living steel from one full Helltide, which is quite a lot, and everything above that is just extra. So we would expect around 140 living steel after 2 hours of farming. Let's see if we can surpass this or not. So we're just opening all of the remaining chests that are inside the Helltide. Currently there's no priority which chests we open, since we will eventually open everything. I try to open the ones that are close by so I don't have to return to them. And you have to give it to the Spiritborn's overpoweredness that we can do this so easily. I'm not sure if any other build could do this in the game currently. Back in the day, the original Lightning Spear Sorcerer could have done it. So now we are approaching the very last chest of this Helltide, and let's do a summary what we are now. So it is currently 3:41 a.m. So we've got 20 minutes until the next Helltide, and it seems that we have quite a lot of boss summoning materials. We've got 147 living steel. Shame it's not 150. We've got more than 50 distilled fear, and we've got quite a lot of exquisite blood as well. So based on the amount of materials that we have, I decided that we want this 150 living steel before we do anything. So we're going to farm that in the next Helltide, and until then I went back to the Blood Maiden to get a few other exquisite bloods, and now we have over 50 exquisite bloods. So the plan is to sell the 50 exquisite blood, sell the 50 distilled fear, and then sell the living steel when we get 150. And from that gold we will buy summoning materials for Duriel. This is the plan. We use the Diablo.trade website to check up on prices for boss materials, and we also use this site to contact the sellers, since of course Blizzard didn't decide to add normal trading in the game. You have to do it in outside websites, not sponsored by the way. So now we're going to check the price of the exquisite blood so we can list it at a decent amount. Now that we know the price to be around 2 to 3 million per each exquisite blood, we're going to make a listing and then wait for a buyer. I am going to do this for 50 of our distilled fear as well, but I won't bore you with the recording of that. So at this point we have a buyer for our distilled fear, so we're going to sell this person 50 of our distilled fear, and we're going to take the gold for it. And if I remember correctly, he is going to pay 4 million gold for each distilled fear, so 200 million for all 50. As you can see on the top right corner of the screen, it is 3:58, so soon a new Helltide will begin. We are going to hop into this Helltide just to get 2 living stills, and the reason for that, I wanted to get 150 living still, which I feel is easier to sell than 148 of it. So that's why we're going to hop back into the Helltide. So currently we haven't sold our exquisite blood, we haven't sold our living steel, but we have sold our distilled fear just now. So now we are getting the remaining living steel that we needed. We're going to list this living steel on the website on diablo.trade and hope for buyers for both the living steel and the exquisite blood. And jump ahead a few minutes, I've got a buyer for the exquisite blood. Don't mind the name, I have no idea whether he is some kind of Asian trader or not, but he has a high level Paragon, so maybe he is not. Nevertheless, we are going to sell him 50 exquisite blood for 2.5 million each, meaning 125 million gold altogether. And lastly, we're going to get rid of our living steel as well. I found a guy who was going to buy it. And by the way, let me know in the comments how much do you like this trade meta. Obviously, the amount of gold that we're getting is way higher that you would get in any type of gold farm in-game. So do you think it's right to get this amount of gold with trading and not actually playing the game? Let me know in the comments. And now we are selling our living steel for a whopping total of 525 million gold. I don't even know how much that is per item. I think it's like 3.5 million per each living steel. And now we have all the gold in the world to buy Duriel summoning materials. Okay, so currently it is a little bit over 4 p.m. So we have almost an hour to get Duriel materials. So again, we have over 1 billion gold. We can't spend all of it because remember we had 120 million at the beginning, but we did manage to get 800 million gold in 2 hours worth of farming. I think this is ridiculous, and it should be enough to get a lot of Duriel materials. So now we are buying a whopping 30 shards of agony for 300 million gold, so that is 10 million gold each. And in addition to that, we're also going to buy the same amount of mucus slick eggs for the same amount of money. So altogether, when all of the trading is done, we managed to get around 800 million gold, and then we spend 600 million of this to get 30 mucus slick eggs and 30 shards of agony. Therefore, we can summon Duriel a total of 15 times, and we still have 200 million gold remaining, and if I wanted to, I could spend that 200 million gold on a few other Duriel runs, just in case we didn't get a Mythic Unique. So I'm really feeling good about this. I think that in 15 runs I should be able to get a Mythic Unique, unless the fortune is really not in my favor today. So a few words about these tradings. All of these were found randomly on Diablo.trade, and I knew none of the traders beforehand. They didn't exist just to help me. The same is true for the group. I found a group to do a rotation with on Duriel, and I found them on Discord, more specifically the Discord of the Diablo subreddit. They weren't ready and waiting for me to help with this challenge. I just found them randomly. I didn't know them before the challenge, and they weren't just there to help me with the challenge. So now we're going to do rotations. Initially, we were planning to do 10 rotations, and 10 rotations mean 40 Duriel kills. I don't know the exact drop rate, but I'm pretty sure that you are more likely to get a Mythic Unique in 40 Duriel kills than not. And even though if we wouldn't get a Mythic Unique, we would be able to run 5 more rotations, so 20 more Duriel kills. I'm liking the odds of that. So I'm not going to go through each and every Duriel fight. I'm just showing you the first one and also showing you that unfortunately during the first kill we did not manage to get a Mythic Unique item. Currently it is 4:40 p.m. so we're definitely inside the time that we allotted to ourselves at the beginning. This is going to be the second Duriel kill, and I will say that during this second kill we also did not get a Mythic Unique. This is going to be the third Duriel kill where we unfortunately do not get anything, and I'm not going to make you run through all of the Duriel kills and loots. I'm going to skip all the way to what I believe was the 13th kill, and on this 13th kill we managed to get finally a Mythic Unique item, which is a Melted Heart of Selig. So technically we are just 1 minute after the 3-hour mark, but I still definitely consider this a win. In addition to that, there's another cut, and we're cutting to the 35th or something Duriel kill, where we get a second Mythic Unique. This time it is one of the new Mythic Unique helms that was introduced in this season, and so altogether during these 10 Duriel runs we managed to get 2 Mythic Unique items, which I believe is definitely a success. And we seem to have a happy ending with 2 Mythic Uniques. My question is, how do you like the route? I suggest trying it out because at least until the boss material prices are as high as they are currently, you will make a lot of money and you can buy a lot of Duriel summoning materials with it, or you can buy whatever with it. Well, thank you very much for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a comment, maybe about what other type of farm you want me to try out next, and then see you next time. Thanks.